Yu Otasaka is not ugly, but a lonely loser for sure with a pretty unique ability. He can straight up hijack other people's bodies for 5 seconds.
I could just take over the world.
Not yet, cause his own body shuts down immediately. Yu uses this power to start beef within students who annoy him, then switches back before they even know what happened. Eventually, he realizes he can use it to cheat on exams. During tests, he jumps into the smartest brains, copies their answers, and becomes the class genius. The flex is real. Now feeling OP, Yu sets his sights on the most prestigious high school. He pulls up in disguise, does some 169 IQ stalking on the other test takers, and slays his way to the top. As the new golden boy, he's invited to give a speech. He drops some smooth words and instantly becomes the main character of the school. Girls are all over his DMs, but Yu just casually ignores them. After class, a girl shoots her shot, but Yu hard passes, saying he's too busy. But we can tell that's a lie. Because his one and only type is Yumi Shiryanagi, the certified Madonna of the school. Later that day, Yumi and her bestie head to her favorite restaurant. Yu possesses a truck driver and sends the vehicle straight for her. Then, he hops back into his body and saves Yumi just in time. She's clueless. After dropping her off at the infirmary, she invites him to lunch. His plan goes smoothly, and she falls for him. Meanwhile, he's being recorded by some mystery stalker. Fast forward to the next day, Student Council President Omura hits you with a Uno reverse, accusing him of cheating on the entrance exam. He challenges you to retake the same test and score at least 90%, or it's game over for him. Yu tries to leave, but Omura threatens to expel him. Yu takes the exam and tries to possess Omura thinking he's holding the answer sheet. But turns out Omura's been trolling him this whole time.
Surprise, mother!
Reality slaps him when now Tamori suddenly pops out with the footage. His every single move is recorded. Man is cooked. With no other choice, Yu runs for his life. But before he can make a clean getaway, a dude named Takaju glitches into the scene. He moves at light speed, takes you with him, and they both crash. Turns out teleportation is his thing, except he can't control where he goes. Seconds later, Now rolls up and kicks Yu, flexing her ability, but she can only go ghost for one person at a time. That's when Yu gets hit with the ultimate lore drop. Turns out their powers are temporary. One day, they'll delete out of existence. Until then, anyone with abilities has to attend a special high school. Now tells Yu he has to join the student council since his power is cracked and could help prevent ability users from going rogue. Later, Yu links up with Yumi for one last lunch date. He tells her he's transferring and asks her to visit him once in a while. But Yumi isn't having it though. She dumps him in an instant and says her final goodbye. Yu and his little sister Ayumi move to their new dormitory, where the student council Now and Takaju help them settle in. As Yu rolls up to his new class, he gets the classic student council welcome. On the way there, Now casually drops some intel. Apparently, some students can unlock wild special abilities, while others are just born cracked at life. If the government ever got wind of this, things would turn dystopian real fast. Yu assumes Now is just exaggerating things, but she keeps it real and reveals that her older brother got done dirty as one of the guinea pigs. The current system was put in place to keep students from getting clapped or going full villain, with the student council acting as ability hall monitors. In class, Yu introduces himself, feeling momentarily back in his element, but his peace is short-lived. Now and Takaju are in the same class. At lunch, Takaju extends the invite, flexing his VIP access. The cafeteria turns into his personal speedrun challenge when he abuses his ability to cut the line, resulting in absolute chaos. He deletes half of the cafeteria and gets injured, as usual. Watching him take constant L from teleporting wrong, Yu starts thinking his powers are basically a scam. Meanwhile, Now is spotted eating alone. Turns out, her bad reputation has the student body considering her a walking red flag. The student council office becomes the next stop. A wet, unsettling individual enters the room. He points his index on the map and determines the location of a student with psychic photography ability. Takaju tells Yu this dude is legit. His power lets him clock supernatural people and their skill trees. With this intel, the council pulls up to a high school, and after some snooping, Now identifies a suspicious student. Using his ability, Yu digs through the guy's stuff and uncovers some seriously problematic photos. They investigate and find that the photos were bought from Udo, Class 2 ES archery captain and part-time nude seller. The council rolls up, evidence in hand. Udo tries to blackmail Now, but Yu's ability basically turns that threat into a non-factor. Then Udo points the bow at Now, but his fingers slip and he accidentally fires off an arrow. Takaju, being the anime protagonist he is, casually catches it like it's a Nerf dart. With the threat neutralized, Udo is forced to accept his defeat. Noticing Yu's growing curiosity, Now decides to take him to the hospital. On the way, she unpacks some deep family trauma, Their mother sent them to a school where students with potential could master their abilities. Her brother Kazuki Tamori is low-key badass. His power lets him control air vibrations. Scientists saw this as an opportunity to turn him into a test subject, believing his skill could interfere with radio signals. A year of experiments later, he was finally allowed a reunion with Nao, but by then, the brother she knew was completely gone. At the hospital, Yu finds Nao's brother absolutely unhinged. Nao explains the brutal reality: people like them are treated as disposable batteries. Once their powers burn out, they're tossed aside and replaced. Yu tries to throw some emotional support her way, but Nao isn't taking any sympathy from this loser. The sun sets and the two return to their dorms exhausted. Yu is looking kinda out of it, so Takaju takes him to the cafeteria, treating him to some curry. But before long, Nao calls them up to the student council office. Inside, the mysterious guy from before pulls up to the map, pointing out someone's location. This time, the individual has not one, but two abilities: channeling and pyrokinesis. Immediate red flags. The team rushes out, but with the area being so broad, actually finding the person is impossible at first. That is, until Nao spots some footprints. A chase definitely went down. A witness mentioned seeing Yuzurin, a literal idol, being chased by some dude. Takaju, being the hardcore fanboy he is, freaks out, knowing every little detail about her career. Meanwhile, Nao scans the area and clocks a suspicious-looking guy. The team handles it, and soon enough, he's caught. Turns out, the guy was hired by a production company to track down Yuzurin. As the team heads out, another guy pulls up, questioning their whole deal. Nao runs him through the situation, but he's not buying it. He needs proof. So, she shows him her powers. That leads to a whole trip to some nightclub, where another guy is standing next to Yuzurin. He calls Yuzurin as Misa and reveals that things are way more complicated than they seem. Yuzurin, apparently has no clue she can channel spirits. She just thinks she has some weird sleepwalking habit. Meanwhile, Nao breaks it all down for the boys. But the second Misa's name is mentioned, Yuzurin does a full personality shift. The next thing they witness is fire everywhere. She eventually calms down and finally the truth spills out. Misa is actually Yuzurin's dead sister, who gets summoned through channeling. As if that's not enough, more secrets come to light. Yuzurin had found shady business in her producer's files, which got a bunch of people after her. Now, always the mastermind, assures Misa that she's got it under control and sets up a plan to blackmail the producer. That night, Misa causes chaos and confronts the producer, completely dooming him. Dude gets terrified and begs for his life, promising to keep quiet about everything he saw. With that, another mission is complete. Out of the way, Nao suggests that Yuzurin transfer to Hashinumi Academy. She reveals the secret of her big brother and upon hearing it, Misa approves, but her friend Sho hesitates. For him, letting her go isn't easy. Sho admits that he loved her, and she died because of him in a motorcycle accident. Misa just smiles, telling him it was an accident and that he needs to move on. After a long day, Yu gets home, and Ayumi is already waiting for him so they can eat dinner together. He spots Yuzurin on TV and casually drops that he met her in person. Ayumi, being a huge fan, completely loses it. The next day, Yuzurin transfers to their school. As she introduces herself, the students get wild. However, before the simping reaches dangerous levels, Nao speedruns the situation, grabbing Yuzurin and making a break for the student council room. The same mysterious man walks in and upon seeing him Yuzurin's face goes pale. He informs the council about a high school boy with telekinetic abilities. Nao presents footage of the boy's seemingly perfect ball pitching during a practice match, revealing that he is secretly using his powers to manipulate the ball's trajectory. The student council visits his school and challenges him to a baseball match. Nao sets a condition: if they win, he will comply with their request. The guy agrees. But there's one issue: their baseball team is actual garbage. However, Nao cooks up a plan to use their abilities and lead their way to victory. During the match, the telekinetic boy tries to manipulate his knuckleball, making it nearly impossible to hit. However, through clever teamwork and the use of their special abilities, the student council ultimately secures victory. After the game, the boy agrees to never use his powers again. Later that night, Yu gets home. As always, Yuzurin appears on their TV, continuing to shine as an idol. The next day, Yu is so over it. Everyone at school is simping for Yuzurin, and it's exhausting to watch. Then, out of nowhere, a squad of mean girls storms in and drags Nao away. Yu follows them and finds out Nao's getting bullied. Of course, this loser just stands there watching his future girlfriend getting beaten. Afterward, they head to the student council office. The mysterious man walks in as usual, and this time he informs them about an individual with an ability to fly. Then Nao shows them a magazine featuring some dude seen flying in the mountains. Nao, being the queen of always having a plan, prepares for a stakeout in the mountains. She stocks up on snacks and casually drops that they should have a barbecue. Meanwhile, Yuzurin and Takaju are out here shipping you and now like it's their full-time job. They get to camp, now fires up the grill, but she's low-key stressed about the campfire drawing too much attention. While the rest of the squad is too busy gaming, Yu realizes, Nao's not there. He finds her sitting on a cliff, vibing to music. She's in her feels, and Yu wants in. She lets him listen, and suddenly, he feels himself standing in an infinite grassy field. Nao explains her brother used to make music that captured loneliness, and she's kinda shocked that a loser like Yu actually gets it. Then she drops a secret that she dreams of making a music video with his songs. Yu is shocked because for the first time, Nao actually looks vulnerable. Next day, it's all about survival skills, fishing, grilling, the whole Bear Grylls experience. The girls go for a Goemon-style bath, the boys clean up in the river. Yu is definitely checking out Takaju's shredded Jimbro physique. Takaju tells you that he might be in for some serious challenges ahead, the kind that'll force him to change. Yu laughs it off, admitting he's a loser and his abilities trash so it doesn't matter. That's when Takaju almost drops a straight-up spoiler from episode 10, but catches himself just in time. Later that night, Yu wants to go see his sister but Nao refuses and tells him that they will all stay the night. The next day, some guy shows up, threatening to call the cops on the council. Nao exposes him for practicing flight on private property and shows the footage. He falls for the trap and snatches the camera trying to fly away, but he gets possessed by Yu Midair, slowing him down and stopping him from stealing the camera. Nao explains to him that someday his powers might disappear midair. Misa shows him her powers, proving he isn't alone and the mission ends. Yu finally heads home to chill with his sister and enjoy her next level cooking. But plot twist, she's sick. Her Oni-chan tucks her in and tells her to rest. By morning, though her fever's even worse. Yu tells her to stay in bed and calls the school to let them know she'll be staying home. Yu goes to the student council office and the mysterious man barges in, dropping the location of someone with collapse powers. The council freaks out because the location is their own apartment. Nao explains that parents can't even have abilities, so it's probably just someone skipping school because they're sick. Yu immediately gets stressed, realizing Ayumi might awaken her powers too. He tells everyone the truth and the council, excluding Takaju, plans a visit to Ayumi. When they show up, Ayumi's already got 3 of her friends over, but you feel something suspicious about this girl. After that, Nao and Yuzurin enter the room. Ayumi gets too excited to see her idol in person and ends up with a nosebleed. After dinner, Yuzurin gets a call from her crew and leaves first. As Nao and Yu wash the dishes, Ayumi teases them for being an item. Before leaving, Nao warns you about how collapse is straight up dangerous, and advises him to keep Ayumi at home for a few days. Next day, Nao sets up surveillance at the middle school, worried their lack of proof is gonna bite them later. She tells you to keep Ayumi home for another day, but Ayumi sneaks out anyway. At school, Ayumi bumps into Oikawa, who's acting all clingy and trying way too hard. Just then her friend Nomo comes and saves her. While running away, she crosses paths with Kanishi, who's big mad and pulls up with a box cutter, accusing Ayumi of stealing her man. As Kanishi is about to hurt Ayumi, she unknowingly uses collapse, wrecking the whole building. She falls down. Yu and the squad see everything. Even though Nao tries to stop him, Yu rushes in, just as a massive chunk of debris comes crashing down toward him. Yu wakes up in a hospital bed, and his world is shattered. Ayumi's gone. Guilt hits him like a truck as he never got to tell her how much she meant to him. Tears start falling from his eyes. Days turn into a blurry mess. He ghosts everyone, drowning in guilt and binge-eating instant ramen like it's a personality trait. His friends try to snap him out of it, but dude's deep in his feels and sends them home. One day, Yumi shows up, hoping to talk some sense into him, but he's forgotten about her. He lashes out at her, making her leave. Eventually, his ramen stash runs out, and he decides to go outside. That's when he sees the cops pulling up to interrogate him. To stay under the radar, he hijacks a cop's body and travels to some random town. There he spends all day eating dangos and grinding arcade games, and low-key becomes a legend for taking down bullies. But he gets hooked on some shady stuff and spirals hard. Dude almost loses himself completely, until Nao shows up like a boss. Turns out she has been with him all this time, being invisible to him. She drags him out of his downward spiral. Then she takes him to Takaju's place where she makes him a simple meal of just omu rice, which was Ayumi's signature dish. She learned the recipe from a cookbook their mother left behind. He eats it and the taste is the same. That's when it hits him hard. Yu breaks down, realizing he can't stay stuck in this pit of sadness forever. After finishing his meal, Yu tells Nao that he's coming back to the student council. After that, Yu's out here trying to piece his life back together with the help of his friends. Now, being the MVP, rounds up the squad to watch Yuzurin's latest music video. As expected, Takaju is in full-on simp mode for Yuzurin. No surprises there. Then, Nao asks if anyone wants to hit up a zine concert with her. The others hard pass, so you ends up tagging along. On his way home, he runs into a blind foreigner and gets some serious déjà vu vibes. He calls her out, and it turns out she speaks fluent Japanese. She asks him to take her to a Japanese noodle spot like it's a side quest, and you just rolls with it. Turns out, she's not just some random tourist, she's Sala Shane, the lead vocalist of Zend. She basically scans Yuu's soul and senses his entire trauma just by hearing his voice. Sala asks you to share what's troubling him. He opens up, revealing that his sister recently passed away. Moved by his story, Sala insists on visiting Ayumi's altar to pay her respects. Then, Yu asks her to meet Now, saying she's a fan of her. However, when Yu calls Now, she refuses, explaining that she loves Zend's music but has no interest in the artists themselves. Yu then asks Now for permission to take Sala to meet his brother Kazuki. On the way, he asks if she is completely blind, and she casually confirms, explaining that she traded her eyesight for her successful music career. Upon arriving, they find Kazuki off his painkillers, spiraling into self-destruction again. In an effort to reach him, Sala steps forward and begins to sing. Kazuki immediately calms down, seemingly recognizing her voice. Yu then asks if Kazuki remembers his little sister. After a brief silence, Kazuki finally manages to speak Nao's name. After that, Sala gets dragged away by her manager, and they go their separate ways. Yu gets a call from Nao, who's already at the hospital, thanking him for what he did for her brother. The next day, Yu meets Nao at Zend's concert. As they vibe to Sala's performance, Yu's brain hits rewind. Suddenly, he's back in a hospital with Ayumi. An announcement for dinner echoes through the facility. Before heading to the cafeteria, Yu speaks with a kind researcher who shows genuine pity for the ability holders. While they're waiting in line, it's revealed that Yu and Ayumi have an older brother Shunsuke, who literally has the power to time travel. But he's been locked away because his ability is way too OP. As they eat, Yu starts thinking. He's been concealing the true extent of his ability, but if the researchers ever find out what he can really do, he knows he'll end up just like Shunsuke. Out of nowhere, this dude Kumagami slides up next to Yu and whispers that he's found a telepath who can basically mind DM people. He tells you to hijack someone's body real quick before handing him the location. Meanwhile, 3 randoms are munching in a low-key isolated spot. Then, some guards roll up and take Kumagami away. Not long after, some guards forcefully take Ayumi and zap you into unconscious. When he wakes up, the whole building is shaking and a voice announces that their section is getting locked down. The kind researcher stumbles in and drops the worst news ever: Ayumi's collapse ability just awakened, causing the quake. Since she's basically a walking nuke, the scientists plan to dissect her. Then the researcher informs you of having a secret ability called Plunder. Yu immediately sprints to find the telepath's room and steals their ability. A guard clocks him and goes for the kill, but before he can shoot, a woman pulls a mind trick and knocks him out cold. Yu keeps running, using telepathy to hit up Shunsuke, who's chained up somewhere in the facility. He tells him that Ayumi is about to be dissected, but before he can do anything, the whole place starts leaking gas. Just then, Shunsuke's friend, Shorchino phases through a wall like a ghost. He tells you to steal his phasing ability to get to Shunsuke. Yu hesitates at first, then snatches Shorchino's power and bounces, passing through the walls. He finds his big bro and breaks him out. Light enters Shunsuke's eyes as he pulls out his time leap move, and just like that, reset. Cut back to the present, and Yu wakes up in a room with Nao. Turns out, he straight up collapsed at the concert. Then Kumagami walks in, revealing that he's the one who's been tracking ability users for them this whole time. He tells you that he's going to use time leap to undo Ayumi's death. Kumagami takes them to a hidden facility where Shunsuke has been hiding. Nao already knows him as he apparently guided her after her brother's whole situation. Meanwhile, Yu is still buffering, too mentally fried to react. We flash back to Shunsuke and his siblings as kids. Shunsuke, who's already tapped into the future, pinpoints the exact day they get caught. He explains how, after unlocking Time Leap, he linked up with Kumagami and his crew in a basement hideout. Kumagami introduced Shunsuke to the squad, Shorchino, who can phase through objects, Midoki, who can make people fall asleep with hypnosis, and Midamori, who can wipe someone's memories with a touch. Shunsuke put together a secret organization of powered teens. Eventually, they needed cash to hire more people. To stack some funds, he time-leaped back, finessing bets and lottery wins. But overusing his ability started messing with his vision. He had already rerun his 15th birthday too many times. You asked him about his high school plans, sparking the idea of creating Hashinumi Academy, a safe zone for kids like them, free from shady scientists. Shunsuke had one last shot before going completely blind. He set up a school to make his plan real. Before losing his sight for good, he erased Yu and Ayumi's memories to keep his existence a secret. Cut to the present, Shunsuke tells you about his real ability, Plunder, which lets him permanently steal other people's abilities. Now tells him that she and Takaju had known from the beginning, but kept it a secret, because if you kept collecting powers like Pokemon, things could have spiraled out of control, making him a serious threat. Shunsuke tells you to take his time leap power and go back to save Ayumi by stealing her collapse ability first. You time leaps to the day Ayumi is sick in bed. He quickly warns Nao and the others about her power. He spends the whole day with Nao and she notices something suspicious about his behavior. You admits he used time leap to save his sister. Nao fully understands the lore. Yu rushes in and takes Ayumi's ability before the accident can happen. The next day, he drops Ayumi off at school while his squad sneak in disguised. Takaju pretends to be a teacher, but gets caught immediately. Yu hides in a locker, and Yuzurin barely avoids a scene. Ayumi gets confronted by Konishi again, but this time, Yu jumps out of the locker and scares her off with Nao's help. Ayumi is saved. As the siblings head home, they meet Kumagami and Midoki. Yu immediately recognizes Kumagami and he takes the siblings to see Shunsuke. Ayumi and Yu arrive at a secret facility and reunite with Shunsuke. He warns you that syndicates are after him and tells him to stay until his powers disappear. Shunsuke gives them a tour, and that's when they find out the researchers are cooking up a vaccine to stop new ability users from popping up. A scientist breaks it down. This all started because of a long-orbit comet called Charlotte. Every 75 years, it swings by Earth, dropping mystery particles that give people powers. However, the downside is the vaccine only prevents new abilities. It's useless for those who already have them. Ayumi gets introduced to the other ability users, including Shunsuke's crew. She and Yu start adjusting to their new normal, but things go left when Kumagami detects another ability wielder. He decides to check it out, but Yu is told to sit this one out since it's too risky. Kumagami gets a ride from Furuki, but something feels off. Furuki starts ranting about people threatening his family, then suddenly takes a detour to some sketchy spot. A group of people pop out and tell Furuki to run. Then, this Chad knocks out Kumagami. When he wakes up, they force him to snitch on every ability user he knows. That same night, a group breaks into Nao's apartment and kidnaps her. The next morning, Shunsuke gets a call from the kidnappers. They want to trade Nao and Kumagami for you. Shunsuke eventually informs the group and concludes on sending you alone. Yu knows he has to step up, but he hesitates. Rescuing Kumagami solo isn't exactly the move. After some thinking, he sucks it up and follows Furuki to the rival hideout. The second he steps inside, he uses his power to check for weapons, but it's a bust. Then, it all goes downhill. One of the enemies lands a hit on Yusai, making time leap completely useless. With no way out and no backup, he panics and goes all in, unleashing collapse and telekinesis to break free. Shunsuke and the squad arrive just in time, but the cost is brutal. Kumagami throws himself in harm's way to save Nao, taking the hit and dying in the process. Yu wakes up from eye surgery and immediately panics as he notices his missing eye. Shurchino drugs him before he can nuke the hospital with collapse. As he recovers, friends and family check in. One day Midoki swings by and takes him to the hospital roof where he finds Shunsuke drowning in grief after losing his bestie. Shunsuke's POV reminds him of his own misery days when he lost Ayumi. Unable to do anything, he heads back to his room and finds Nao posted up like an NPC. Lost in the sauce, Yu asks Nao what's next. She tells him that since Shunsuke already cooked up a vaccine to stop new superpowers, you should snatch every ability out there to keep users safe from terrorists looking to farm their powers. It's a high-risk, no-checkpoint type of plan. No one knows if you will glitch out from stacking so many abilities. Without hesitation, Yu locks in. When Nao asks why he's so hard-carrying, he drops the main character buff and says he wants to save her to repay her saving him. Then he speedruns a sudden love confession. Nao is stunned since they're a mismatched duo, but in the end, she tells him she'll be waiting for him until he returns. Yu kicks things off with Nao's invisibility. Then he heads to the roof to drop the lore on his brother. Shunsuke says it's a hard no, but Yu's already locked in. Once he's discharged, he speedruns his mission to collect everyone's powers. Takaju and Misa pull up and ask him to take theirs next. Yu hesitates. If he takes Yuzurin's ability, Misa will delete from existence. But Misa tells him it's all good. Respecting the 100% send-off, Yu takes their abilities. Yu then goes full world tour mode, jacking abilities from everybody, even those who haven't fully awakened. But the grind starts bugging him out. He begins losing his memories, sense of self, all of it. Day by day, Yu's memories vanish like smoke. He has completely forgotten about Nao. Eventually the word gets out, and soon, he's on the news, dubbed as the One-Eyed Grim Reaper. He gets a huge bounty on him. One night, while grinding for the last ability user, some random guy snipes him with an arrow. With all the OP power stacked inside him, Yu barely holds on. Then a little girl pops up and starts acting as his shield. Yu finds out she's the person he's been searching for and takes her ability, which is courage. As he tells her to leave, Yu immediately faceplants from exhaustion. Luckily, just as he's about to be taken, Shunsuke rolls in with a helicopter and takes him back to Japan. When Yu wakes up, he's basically a factory reset NPC. He doesn't recognize Nao at all, but Nao, being the real one, tells him that she's his girlfriend. She then hands him the flashcard she made for him, and cries tears of joy, seeing that you kept his promise. In the final arc, Yu is surrounded by his squad for a group picture. They make a pact to live their best lives, full of vibes, no BS, just straight serotonin from now on. And just like that, Yu's gone from cheating on tests to saving the world solo. If that hit, comment your favorite moment and stick around for the next one.